What's up, everyone? It's the interview queen Alicia Toot here, and be sure to watch True Heel Heat.
This is Timothy Barr from MLW. Make sure you give a listen to one of the greatest podcasts in the world, True Heel Heat.
What's up, guys? It's Wolverine, Death Machine, Mr. GMSI himself, Brian Cage, and you're watching True Heel Heat. Who better? Nobody.
What's going on, everybody? This is your former AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Once a champion, always a champion. Swerve Strickland. Whose house? Swerve's house. You're watching True Heel Heat podcast.
Hello. It is me, your True Heel Phenom SP3. We are live on the True Heel Heat YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter for NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025 review, discussing this past Saturday's show from San Jose, California, the first NJPW Strong USA event of 2025, and it was a good one. But y'all know the deal. When we discuss New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, there's only one guy we call. He's the MC of the past, present, and future of NJPW here on the True Heel Heat YouTube channel. It's your boy, J News.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a harsh week for me. Coming out of this being sick crap that happens during the wintertime and all that jazz, but I bounced back a little bit, at least. Battle in the Valley was a entertaining, fun, and positive show, to be quite honest, man. And we'll definitely talk about it. Yeah. Let's get on with the party.
Yes, we appreciate y'all if you're joining us live. Appreciate y'all if you're watching us on demand. Remember to show your appreciation back. The simplest way possible is by dropping the thumbs up on the video. Help the YouTube algorithms in that way as you can. And of course, you can share the video with all your wrestling fans, friends, and family on all your favorite social media platforms. If you're new to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content here. And of course, sound off in the live chat. We love to interact with all of you guys. Hear your thoughts on NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025. We'll try to highlight as many of your comments as possible. But of course, if you're feeling generous, you want to give back to what we do here, you want to show your support to the True Heel Heat YouTube channel and our NJPW content, you could do so with a super chat donation. Any dollar amount matters. It goes back to the contributors that you see on screen with us here. And we always appreciate the support. You can also become a member of the channel, like our good brother Vala B here. $1 a month. Hit the join button. Gets you exclusive in chat. Vala B here who says, won't be able to stick around, but this show is way better than I expected it to be. I mean, me and Rob Wilkins, we looked at the card. We previewed the card last week, and I was saying, like, the card was very well put together, and they had a couple of different options for what they could have closed the show with. We will discuss if they chose the right one or not, but I like the fact that there was multiple matches I could have saw be in the main event spot. That means that it was a very good card from top to bottom.
I agree. I just didn't know that I wasn't aware they were messing around with like the sequence of the matches on the night of. Like,
same.
That threw me off a bit. But hey, it made for like I said, it made for a fun show though. So when I turned on Battle in the Valley at 10, the pre-show had already ended, so I didn't watch the pre-show matches. But I was there and I'm like, why is Gabe coming to the it's 10 o'clock? Why is Gabe coming to the ring?
Yo, I was so confused. It literally took me a minute to be like, nah, let me rewind all the way to the start, because I was like, let me rewind all the way to the start, because if this show started at like 9, I'm gonna be pissed that I missed an hour of the show. Right. And then I'm like, oh no, this was the opener? Yeah. And this is unlike any opener we've ever had for not even just New Japan USA. I've never seen a New Japan show start with a match like this.
Word. I agree with that. So I was taken aback by it, and then while the match was happening, I was like, okay, cool. So they got a 30-minute time limit or whatever the case is. They'll probably end at around 20 minutes. I said to myself, nope, absolutely not. So yeah, man, it started off well, and then it went from there.
Absolutely. We got I Make Beats in the chat with us today. Good to see you, I Make Beats. We got Gray Carter the second, who says Gabe Kid can do no wrong. We also got here I Make Beats, who says, yo, what's this about some 12-man match on AEW? TK been on that snow emoji again. I mean, man, I was like, I popped on Twitter machine last night and I saw the response to fucking the Death Riders teaming up with the Learning Tree. And one, I was not surprised, because that don't make no sense. And two, I'm really wondering. I'm like, okay, when is like AEW and Tony Khan gonna get the memo that this Death Rider shit is not working? Or has he accepted it and he's just gonna be like la 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 la? Because I honestly, if that's what your move is, Tony Khan, I hope you're watching this. I hope someone clips this for him. If you're watching that and that's your move, that's what you want to do, I kind of want to take away all my praise and my support of AEW, because I don't want to support another booker who's like Vince McMahon in the 2010s who doesn't listen to their audience.
Yeah, it's been a tough go. I know I've been one of the few people who hasn't minded, not that I like, but I haven't minded what's been going on with the Death Riders per se. But like now that it just doesn't seem like it's going anywhere necessarily, right? Now you're just throwing people into that vortex. Really, it's like, yeah, do something about it, pivot elsewhere, depending as to whatever you want to do and stuff like that, right? But when you go ahead and you do the one thing that I dislike the most when I talk about New Japan and pro wrestling in general, these multi-man matches. Now you got a 12-man tag. No doubt, your two heel semi-factions, if you want to call them, the Learning Tree and the Death Riders. It's just a clusterfuck, man, at the end of the day. And now it's like it's guaranteed contracts. So it's not like dudes got to walk into an arena and they're waiting to get paid from the gate. It's like, nah, man. Like, this ain't. Do something else is all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Do something.
This is so gone from what the original premise of the story was. Like everything that Moxley was against at the start of the story is what Jericho and the Learning Tree is. So it makes no sense why he's teaming with them. Like I think this is like the point of no return. Like they have completely lost the plot. It's time to cut bait, do something else. We cannot wait 6 months for Darby to hopefully survive Mount Everest to end our misery in July. Like, no, we can't go through 6 months of this.
I feel like regardless of where, like this literally just came to mind. Like Tony Khan's not going to be able to win, period. Because when AEW started, people used to shit on him because he used to listen to the fans all the time. And now, because he's not listening to the fans, because he's barely listening to the fans, I would say it's like, well, which one is it? Both can be true.
He used to get criticized, but there wasn't any statistical evidence that the stuff that they're saying, oh, you shouldn't listen to the fans. No, that's when AEW rose in prominence and rose in popularity. So he was right to listen to the fans. Right. Now he's not listening to the fans, and slowly but surely they're losing their audience. The ticket sales is going down. The TV audience is going down. Like the next thing is when the pay-per-view starts going down, because that was their one positive in 2024. But that's going to start to happen the more you don't listen to your audience.
Absolutely, and I don't disagree with you. And I'm not too sure what's going on over there, man. I just don't. I just hope for the best, and there's that there's a turnaround. When it comes to booking and what they're doing with their talent, and like do something of substance, shock the world if even before your next pay-per-view, which you can do. You have the talent to do so, and you can definitely pivot as the beginning of the year at the end of the day. So you haven't necessarily put anything into continuity that makes everybody warrant to look forward to the rest of the storyline. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, just pivot, man. It's a quick pivot. Come up with something, and then once you make the decision on whatever you make the decision on, then plan around that. Don't make it a week-to-week thing where you're like doing what Vince McMahon used to do and like tearing up scripts the night of Raws and shit like that. Like once you make the pivot move, plan things around the pivot, and then just go from there, or whatever the case is. But you
have to learn how to pivot, because this is too many times that you've just expected the audience, oh, guys, just wait. You did that with Jade Cargill and her TBS title reign. Chris Statlander is the plan to beat her, and she gets injured. You told us wait, and we waited for fucking 8 months. Then Adam Cole and MJF, the Devil storyline, waited for a goddamn year for one of the worst feuds of 2024. Then like yo, it's just like over and over and over again. We keep going through the same thing, and it's just like I'm spent. I think I'm over this.
No,
I want to go now.
The execution is faulty at the end of the day, so they have to definitely pivot or make other talents prominent on the AEW roster. So we'll see how it all breaks down and stuff like that. So
this is very true, but we got to talk about some New Japan Pro Wrestling. So you know how we do with our pay-per-view reviews. J News, give me your one word, one phrase to give your overall thoughts on Battle in the Valley.
It might sound cheesy, but it was fun. it was fun. It was. I haven't had a feeling like that from a wrestling show in quite some time, where just because quote unquote matches were out of order. It was like, okay, where are we starting? Where are we going? How is this gonna happen?
It's the first time in a while I did not know what I was gonna see next at a New Japan show.
So I was like, okay, I know what matches are booked. I just don't know when they're gonna fall on the show. So it's like, let's see what ends up. Because when like I said, when I saw Gabe come out for the first match, and I was like, what's the main event? And I was like, okay, cool. So whatever, the Zack match got prolonged, and then like every time during the last 4 matches, every time I'm watching the match, it's like, oh, okay, so this is the main event. The show's over. And then another match happens, like, oh shit, I forgot about this match. And I was like, so yeah, man. No, it was a fun time. Good matches all around. One scary spot that kind of almost took me out of the match, but thankfully she rebounded. Talking about Trish Adora. So that was good to see her be able to get back into action and things of that nature. And then yeah, man, it was just fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. It was a fun night.
Yeah. Mine is simple. It was a good time. That's a good time. It was a fun, very fun show. But we're gonna talk more about it in here. If you got any questions, any comments that you want to have read out, you can send a super chat donation. We always appreciate the support. Hit the $sign and show that support if you can. And we do have a member of the channel. I Make Beats has been a member for 5 months. I Make Beats. I'll never forget your story of becoming a member. This man got a VPN just for us. We appreciate you, good sir. Thank you for that, and thank you for still being a member 5 months later. But let's get into Battle in the Valley 2025 from San Jose, California. We'll go very quickly through the 2 kickoff pre-show matches that were on this card. You had first up the Strong Survivor. You had Zane J going up against Viento. Viento actually was pretty good here. He showed some lucha libre influence, but of course it was Zane J who retained the Strong Survivor by pulling out his flying elbow drop Boston Crab combination to pick up the victory. The old Young Lion special of the Boston Crab here. Zane J picking up a win. Well, any thoughts on Zane J retaining the Strong Survivor? And do you think we're going to have to wait a whole year to find the next Strong Survivor like we did with Vandegrift?
I mean, the result was what I thought it was going to be, right? I didn't, like I said, I didn't walk into Battle in the Valley up until the main card actually started. So I didn't get to watch this match, but for all intents and purposes, it seems that the young luchador was able to show off some skill. Zane J looked strong, so that's a positive. At the end of the day, I think there was some backstage comments that he had made that had him interacting, I think, with another New Japan Academy member in his face. So that seems to be whatever they're going to do at Windy City Riot come April. So we'll see that happening. And Zane J, he's a fine wrestler at the end of the day. So not saying anything overly dramatic or over the top, but he gets the job done for now. I just wonder what his future is gonna be in New Japan, for all intents and purposes.
He looks very generic.
Yeah, for now. Yeah.
But I guess that's the New Japan Dojo Young Lion kind of way. You're going to be generic for a while.
Yeah.
Then you had the second matchup, which had the former Strong Survivor, Matt Vandegrift, teaming up with NJPW Academy trainer Fred Rosser. So a nice little connection there, teaming up as they face DMDK, Shane Hayes, and Bad Dude Tito. The miscommunication between Rosser and Vandegrift became the story of the matchup. Vandegrift would try to steal any sneaky offense he could for his partner, but would continuously become unsuccessful. Rosser would have to come in and make the save, but eventually Rosser accidentally hit Vandegrift with a big kick to the face. Hayes planted Rosser with a big tornado DDT. Tito would follow up. He planted Rosser with the toss down tornado for the 1-2-3. A bitter Vandegrift walked out on Fred Rosser at the end of this one when Rosser went to go for a tag. Vandegrift jumped off the apron and looked on as TMDK picked up the victory here. Like this TMDK combination, honestly. I like it. I don't know if I like it more than Haste and Nichols. I think they have the experience with one another and they just know each other other so well. But him and Bad Dude Tito make a fun tag team too from these strong shows over the last couple of ones that we've seen them paired up together. So their chemistry was good here. Rosser looked good, and Vandegrift was he's still growing on me. He still comes off as a shorter Baron Corbin in look, but he's starting to develop some type of a character, and I like the story that we may have saw start here with Fred Rosser, considering that's his trainer. So, Jay News, what did you think about this tag team matchup here?
Yeah, it was interesting to see the bits that I saw online when I did see that Matt Vandegrift left Fred Rosser hanging there during the match and scoffed at it and walked away, and I was like, that man's your trainer. What kind of respect does that show? You know what I'm saying?
No,
you turn your back on someone who took time out of their damn life and day to put work into you, and you're just gonna walk away? What kind of despicable and disrespectful behavior is that? And so I think that will look from a New Japan Strong standpoint. If you're gonna get into a feud with Fred Rosser, it's important, right? So it's like they're giving this kid a chance to parlay some character work here and get into a dead feud with the lead trainer at the New Japan Academy. It should be a big deal for this kid, and he should treat it that way. And it didn't look bad at the end of the day, so it worked. It worked for what it's supposed to be. I agree with you. Shouts to the main man, Big Teats, that Bad Dude Tito, for always making these shows and making the roads and making the towns when it comes to New Japan Strong shows.
Let's get him in the New Japan Cup, man. He's been getting wins on these New Japan Strong shows. We all know he wants to be in the Cup, so let him go to the Cup. Let's
see if he can make it to the New Japan Cup. And I like the chemistry him and Shane Haste have. So it seems that hopefully they'll be working towards a shot at the Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships down the road. So that should be interesting to see. And yeah, man, more big teats on my TV. So that's all.
Big teats. We do have a super chat donation here from our good brother I Make Beats. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for the support. He says, putting the VPN to good use. THH 2025. Let's go. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much, I Make Beats, for the super chat donation. But we got to get into the main card on the show. And like I said, I think that this is a one-of-a-kind way to start off a New Japan show, something that I don't think they're going to do anytime soon again. But it was definitely just like, this is y'all are really doing this as it's going on. But it was Gabe Kidd defending the Strong Openweight Championship against Tomohiro Ishii. These two men have done battle in tag team action, multi-man action, but never have gone one-on-one. The crowd, we could definitely had the buzz to it as Kidd came out. He got a good reception coming off the heels of his epic encounter with Kenny Omega back at Wrestle Kingdom in the Tokyo Dome. We get a test of how you might introduce this type of matchup, both men colliding into one another. Kidd would eventually gain control. He would try to slow down Ishii, trying to slow down the momentum of Ishii, but Ishii would just keep coming back at him. Around like the 10-minute mark of this matchup, these two men just start chopping the hell out of each other. We get a standing exchange in the middle of the ring, basically put on by Gabe Kidd. Gabe wanted a prolonged chop segment on the floor, but Tomohiro Ishii went to Kidd's heart. He pulled at his heartstrings, telling him to do it on top of the lion mark. So Kidd got back into the ring. The two men just started peltering one another with chop after chop after chop. The crowd just getting more and more into the action. They started chanting "Chop Forever." We get a frenzy of suplexes from each man, and then they stumble and go to the mat with a double down. On the top rope, you get Kid. He bit and choked Ishii back to the cerulean blue, but the challenger fought his way back. He hits a big old headbutt right to the chin of Gabe Kidd, which led into a big vertical drop superplex off the top rope. A pair of knee strikes concluded a lariat spot, but only earned a 1 count for Kidd. Ishii received the same treatment after his own lariat, only a 1 count from Kidd. Kidd nearly won via countout over a prone Ishii, but he requested the count to be stopped. He wanted to go outside. He wanted to finish this war. The two nastily exchanged some vicious looking headbutts. We get each one echoing loudly after the other around the arena. Ishii threw much of his might into a lariat, which turned Gabe inside out, only getting the near fall. He tried for a vertical drop brainbuster, but he received a power driver instead. We get bouncing off the ropes. Kid splattered Ishii with a big lariat, only getting a 2 count for that one. Ishii was being basically drained at this point, the fight leaving him, the exhaustion being sold, but it was Kid who would get the last kind of might, the last flurry from Ishii. He hits a big lariat, turning Kid inside out again. He hits a sliding lariat. He only gets a 2 count. The clock is running. We get the second count, and then eventually the announcer announces that the time limit has been reached. It's a 30-minute time limit draw. We get Gabe on the mic after the matchup. He basically issues the challenge to Tomohiro Ishii that this isn't finished yet. This isn't done yet. He wants one more go with Ishii, but this time he wants it to be a 30-minute Iron Man match. These two men going at it for 30 minutes. One more time, Windy City Riot, Chicago, Illinois. As Gabe Kidd put it, April whatever the fuck, but it is April 11th in Chicago, Illinois. This was an absolute banger. Like I said, I'm only referring to the great matches from Ishii as a banger because they're hard-hitting, they're high impact, it features a lot of chops, a lot of blistering action throughout, and just Gabe Kidd, he just brings this kind of frenetic energy to a matchup. And I love the fact that we saw kind of the juxtaposition to what we saw at Wrestle Dynasty, where the crowd, the Japanese crowd got behind Gabe, turning against Kenny Omega. Here with the American crowd, they treated Gabe Kidd as the heel, and they treated Tomohiro Ishii as the legend of New Japan Pro Wrestling that they wanted to get behind. They wanted to see when they brought out a little bit more tenacity from Kidd. The pain and the exhaustion, the selling was on point, especially in the latter half of the matchup. This was an absolutely superb opener to the show, and the first time I have ever seen a 30-minute matchup open a New Japan show, and the first time ever I've definitely seen the opener is the longest match on a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. I ain't never seen that. I haven't been watching New Japan Pro Wrestling as long as my boy Jay News here, but I've been watching it for the better part over a decade now. Not seen this in any time over the decade. Anything I've seen from the past, never seen anything like this. And it was basically similar to the feeling that I had watching MJF versus Will Ospreay last year. Like, I was like, great, this is great. I'm in the moment, I'm feeling it. But when we get the 30-minute call, when we get the 40-minute call, you're like, oh shit, they're gonna go an hour. In this one, it's when you get the 20-minute call, I'm like, are they gonna go 30 minutes? Because I was like, this was not paced like a 30-minute matchup. Because they doing like the fucking standoff chops 10 minutes into the match. Like, you think that this is only gonna go like 15 minutes, 20 minutes at best. But they went another 20 minutes after they did the chop exchange. Like, this was fantastic from both guys. I gave it 4.5 stars. Probably the highest rating I've ever given for an opener to a New Japan show as well. J News, what did you think? Kidd versus Ishii.
I think that for all of my years of watching New Japan, it's the first time I can recall there being a half an hour time, like a match going half an hour off the first match on the main card. right? Because usually a lot of the time when you watch just New Japan in general, the first match of the night is going to be a tag match or a match with the Young Lions or something like that, or whatever the case is, and they get maybe 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So to get a half an hour match to start off the show, and it still be the longest match of the show, I was like, this is different. But it was a very good different. And for all that being said, when Gabe got on the mic after the match had ended, right? Like when the time limit was up, and he says, I want to do a 30-minute Iron Man match, it kind of threw me off a bit. Because it's like, well, you just went 30 minutes and you guys drew. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you're gonna do it, you're muted.
I said, y'all just went 30 minutes and none of y'all scored a fall. So how you gonna go 30 minutes and somebody's expected to get more than one?
Right. So I figured, you know, and obviously they're going to do this for the US show, right? They're going to do it for Windy City Riot. So I was like, all right, man, maybe 45 minutes or something like that, or whatever the case is. If you're going to do an Iron Man match, but they're I guess it's going to be a sudden death type of deal when it comes to the Iron Man match. So we'll see how it all gets paced out and things of that nature. But it was, yeah, man, banger is probably the main word I use to describe these hard-hitting matches and these never open weight style matches that you get between guys like Gabe Kidd and Tomohiro Ishii, aka Big Tom. It's Big Tom. It served its purpose, and it was a great starting point for the event. And I feel like it was said in the chat earlier, Gabe Kidd can't do any wrong, man. So we'll see how it all breaks down. I also wanted to mention something that happened roughly an hour before Gabe Kidd went into that ring. Daniel Garcia of AEW fame, had a tremendous match with Gabe Kidd's original sensei, let's say, for lack of a better term, Katsuyori Shibata. They had a tremendous match for the TV championship. Danny Garcia retained TNT. Sorry, yes, the TNT championship. Right. And Danny retained, and Danny got cut off before he could say any more.
But we did hear Gabe Kidd. Kidd.
But we did hear Danny say Gabe Kidd. So the Forbidden Door stuff is starting early, I think. And hopefully they're able to get in that ring and prove that the younger generation of both companies is looking bright into the future. Because people forget Gabe's not that old, so he's still a young man himself. So he's out there doing great work for New Japan, and I think that DG is doing great work at AEW. And just to mention this quickly, his AEW run with the current TNT Championship iteration is a bit different than what we've seen before, and I'm here for it, because it's still the whole open challenge thing, but he's not necessarily winning decisively, but he's finding ways to win, and that within itself is an interesting story as he continues to scale and grow in the AEW sphere. So hopefully we'll see DG.
Defenses have been against his friends.
Exactly. And he's winning these matches by the skin of his teeth. So it's like we'll see how it all evolves and it grows. But hopefully we'll be able to see Daniel Garcia versus Gabe Kidd down the road. Like I said, hopefully for Forbidden Door, and we'll go from there. But yeah, man, the Madman has a target on his back now. So
he does. We shall see what happens with it, because he also got called out by Soberano Jr. So
yes, he did.
Couple of people looking for Gabe Kidd now. Everybody wants a piece of Gabe Kidd right now. Next up, we had I was about to call them by their slave name, not the West Coast Wrecking Crew. The world-class wrecking crew, Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaacs, defending the strong openweight tag team championships for the first time against Roppongi Revice, Yo, and Rocky Romero. I like this matchup because it was a nice little kind of styles clash, as Rocky and Yo are more of your junior heavyweight tag team. They use their speed, they use some agility and athleticism to keep their opponents on the back foot to try to gain a victory in any way they can, while Jarrell Nelson and Royce Isaac are more of a smash mouth team. They're very physical, they're very aggressive in the ring, and we saw that play out throughout this matchup. You got Romero and Yo coming close to gaining the victory on several occasions, looking for the 3K. Eventually, Isaacs is able to clink the title across Romero's head, leading to a pop-up powerbomb transition into Isaacs, hitting a fireman's carry onto Nelson's knees. With this crushing double team maneuver, the world-class wrecking crew retain the NJPW Strong Openweight Tag Team Championships. I thought this was a good match to put right after the Kid and Ishii match, as this was kind of like laid out in kind of a old school tag team way of, you know, the baby faces, they go on a little run early, the heels then take over, they get the heat, babyface make one last comeback, and then the heel cheat to get the win. And that's exactly what happened here with Isaacs and Nelson using the title to get the victory in a sneaky manner. But a good, very good matchup. I gave the opener 4.5 stars. I gave this one 3.5 stars. What did you think?
Yeah, you know, at the end of the day, different name or not, these guys are the same wrestlers, right? There's still Jarrell Nelson. There's still Royce Isaacs. I don't give a shit. At the end of the day, these guys, they don't tickle my fancy. They don't.
Apparently,
you know what I'm saying? And a good showing for the Forbidden Door himself, Rocky Romero, and good to see Yo back in the ring, obviously. So they were able to get a decent match out of these two guys. I have no idea what they're gonna do with these guys here, but it worked, and of course they needed to cheat to win. What else can they do? They can't necessarily get in there and get the graps on and win fair and square. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. World class my ass is what I gotta say about that. Yeah.
We really need Nicky Boy, Negro Buck Nick Jackson, if he's watching this on demand on the replay. We really need you to make a disclaimer for J News when we talk about the world class wrecking crew, Filthy Tom Lawler, David Finlay, and just anyone else that pisses him off. He just has no filter.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. You know, I would want to apologize.
That's my request.
If I didn't mean it necessarily, but you know. When there's people that just don't do it for me, they don't do it for me. You know what I'm saying? Don't know them as human beings, but at the end of the day,
they don't do it for me.
They don't do it for me. You know?
You sounded very New York right there. They don't do it for me. Yeah, they don't do it for me.
So we'll end on that.
And we had an eight woman elimination matchup, as it was Empress Nexus Venus, Hanako, Micah, and Mina Shirakawa teaming up with the newest AEW signee Viva Van to face AEW's own Anna Jay, AEW, ROH, and Shane Taylor Promotions' own Trish Adora, Johnny Robbie, and Azumi of Stardom and Neo Genesis. A nice little mixture of talent from the US as well as Japan in this matchup here. You get Adora and Hanako. Started off the matchup. Hanako hits a big boot to Trish Adora as she's up against the ropes, which led to Trish Adora. She was just loopy. She was knocked the fuck out after this. Like, I literally saw it on right on cue. After she takes the boot against the ropes, she like flops down against the second rope just as Hanako is about to do another attack to her against the rope. So that's what I knew. I was like, all right, something ain't right. Then Trish went to the floor. Then you see the doctors, referees, medics coming down to check on her. At one point, every time the camera goes over there, you're checking to see like what's the progression. You see one point she's on her knees and they're talking to her, making sure she's on good. Next time she's on the floor again. The next time they go back to the camera, she's on the apron. She's laying down on the apron and they're talking to her. Then the next time we see her, she's up, standing up on the apron and then waiting for the tag. And then she's back in the ring. It's just like, I was like, this was like a whirlwind. This was like a whirlwind within an 11-minute matchup of like, I was not like, I thought everything I saw was solid to good.
Yeah.
But I was not paying attention to a good 6-7 minutes of this matchup because I was very concerned with Trish Adora following that. Final four, you see Azumi, Mina Shirakawa. They eliminate each other, so it's down to Micah and Anna Jay. I thought Anna Jay looked very good here against Micah. Micah, one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, especially in the Joshi world over in Japan for Stardom. It came down to those two. Finally, Anna Jay was on the apron, and Micah hits a big discus forearm, knocking her down off the apron to pick up the victory here. Micah making her NJPW strong debut, being the sole survivor for Empress Nexus V. What I saw, it was entertaining. I did not see all of it. I had to go back and watch it after the fact. So I will say it was a solid enough matchup that I'm going to give 3.25 stars to. But damn, man, I was very concerned with Trish Adora throughout this match.
It took me out. It took me out of the match, man. I usually don't. I usually don't live tweet when I'm watching shows and stuff like that. But I saw Scott E Wrestling, shouts to Scott as always, make a comment about the 8-woman tag, and I commented to him, and I was like, yeah, it did feel fun, but like Trish Adora injury spot like took me out of it and stuff like that, because I was genuinely worried, because like when she went to go get the tag, she was dragging herself along the bottom rope. It's like she didn't have use of her legs and shit like that. So I was like, okay, that just seems bad. But thankfully she was all right and things of that nature. Like you said, man, Anna Jay looks strong in this. Good showing for her. Definitely a good showing for Micah. I think we said this a couple of months ago that Micah's probably next in line for Mercedes strong women's championship.
I think when she was announced for this show, we thought it would be this show, but no Mercedes on here, which I don't think it was a good choice, even though she stole the show at the last show. I think all these New Japan Strong shows should have Mercedes Moné on it. At least a match. Even if you don't want to give her a big match, just you got to have some type of like how they did Fighting Spirit Unleashed, where she showed up unannounced. Like you got to have her some type of presence because she's becoming one of the faces of this brand. So I think you got to have her on every show in some way possible. I would have even taken a vignette, honestly.
I don't disagree with you. The only thing that would bring up cause to pause would be if, because I know she lives out in the West Coast, so could be, could be that
wildfires.
She's dealing with the wildfire stuff, so that could be a thing. I'm not, I'm guessing. I'm speculating. I'm not saying that did happen, but a lot of people that are still currently being affected by what's going on over there. So she could be one of those people. So it could be that. But love the majority. Not going to say I don't like any of the ladies in this match. I think every woman in this match has a lot of talent. Empress Nexus Viva, as they surely call themselves, Viva Van. Was able to show off for a bit. Hanako, who's been on a short-lived excursion here in the U.S. I don't necessarily want to call it an excursion because she hasn't been here for months. But
hey, it's having an effect. She got a good reaction when she came out at Hammerstein Ballroom for Ring of Honor.
So I think it's been a positive for her being over here. Obviously, like you said, Mike is one of the strongest Stardom has to offer at the end of the day. So definitely looking forward to seeing a match between her and anybody really here in the US. She says, I think she stated it on her Twitter that she'll be staying in the US for a while. So we shall see if she did hint at maybe making an appearance at Dynamite this Wednesday. So we'll see how that.
I mean, they got the women's casino going.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's she could definitely be an entrant in that. So definitely looking forward to some more Micah on our TV screens. The ladies on the other side, Johnny Robbie, she's still I would say not green, but like she's still getting her reps in and stuff like that. So hopefully,
She's got good potential though.
Yeah. Hopefully she has a bright future in front of her and stuff like that. We all know what I mean. For those of us who watch enough, we all know what Trish Adora can do. Hopefully, it's a bigger 2025 for her and Anna Jay as well. And who was the fourth woman on their side? Why am I forgetting right now?
Azumi.
Oh my god, how am I forgetting about Azumi? Anyways, so yeah, like it. Yeah, at the end of the day,
it's time for Stardom to let Azumi win the big one. You had your chance at Wrestle Kingdom. I'm not gonna give up hope completely, but you put the white belt on Starlight Kid. You gotta put one of these top titles on Azumi. If it's her beating Starlight Kid for the white belt, that's fine. If it's her eventually winning the red belt, winning the main title, I think that's the move. I think Saya Kamatani, she needed her moment. She deserved her moment. She got her moment at Dream Queendom, but it doesn't need to be a long moment.
Right.
I'm like saying I think that they need a title change by like All-Star Grand Queendom in April.
Yeah, no, yeah, I can definitely see that happening. Always depending on as to if the ladies, if Azumi goes back to Japan, not saying that she's not going to, but maybe she wants a little excursion for herself over here in the U.S. She has a following over here, by the way. So
she does.
She's quite popular. So I would love to see her and Anna Jay team a little bit more because those two seem to have a lot of fun with one another. So they
probably had the three most popular Stardom wrestlers in the United States on the show.
Yeah.
Azumi, Mina Shirakawa, and Mayu Iwatani, I think, are the three most popular Stardom wrestlers to the U.S. fan base.
Yeah. I'd say that. I'd definitely say that. But hopefully we get Vinny City Rise in April? I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
April 11th.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a full 3 months before we get another New Japan Strong show. So we'll see as to what happens in between then. But good stuff happened here on New Japan Strong. Good stuff happened on Stardom over the weekend as well. So watch out for the ladies and keep your eyes peeled, I would say.
Yeah, they're doing Saya Kamatani versus Suzu Suzuki in Kurgan Hall, which should be a banger. You got next up El Phantasmo making his first defense of the NJPW World Television Championship against the former champion Jeff Cobb. These two men went right at it from the start here, tackling each other. Cobb withstood Phantasmo's attempts like a brick wall, no selling a lot of Phantasmo strikes, while the champion absorbed the force that was his challenger. Phantasmo resorted to using his acrobatics, his athleticism to evade and blindside Cobb, but Cobb's overwhelming size and strength just put ELP on the back foot himself. The cartoonish antics of Phantasmo got the better of Cobb. He was able to gain control in this one, but Cobb just kept putting a stop to whenever ELP would gain some momentum. We get ELP, he hits a big spinning DDT but he eventually flew across the ring when Cobb gets up and hits a big drop kick to ELP. The champion landed a suicida to Cobb on the outside that sent him across the guardrail. He followed up by soaring through the skies with a big dive over the barricade onto Cobb. It was like a double axe handle, but it was still a nice little dive onto the pile of people behind the guardrail. It looked like Phantasmo was going to be able to get back into the ring before the count of 20, while Jeff Cobb was still behind the barricade. So what did Cobb do? He threw a human, a crew member, a young lion at ELP at the count of 19, preventing him from getting back into the ring. Yes, that means that we have a double count out. Double count out here from ELP and Jeff Cobb. This rivalry has to continue. The match itself, a good matchup. I honestly really was enjoying the matchup. I don't like the finish. I just don't like the finish. Post-match, Phantasmo and Cobb agreed to another match for the World Television Championship at Windy City Riot on April 11th. It's like on any other show, I think I would be fine with this finish. You can't do it when you open the show with a 30-minute time limit draw. You can't do it. You can't do it. It's just so unlike New Japan Pro Wrestling, 1, and 2. I would criticize WWE or AEW if they had 2 non-finishes on a main show. So I'm gonna criticize New Japan as well.
So mind you, we're gonna get 2 rematches at Windy City Riot. Out of this one show, we get 2 rematches. It's a like I make Beat said, it's a fair point. But I would say the creative stylings on how to finish both matches were A+. I've never seen a man chuck another man into another man just so he doesn't get back into a ring. That to me was creative as hell. Jeff Cobb, you are still my Matanza out here doing the Lord's work.
Matanza Guido!
So yeah, man, that was cool to see. And as I said when we spoke about all the Wrestle Kingdom stuff and all the Tokyo Dome stuff in reference to ELP getting back in the ring and doing his thing and being the new New Japan World TV champ. Like, dude, you can do no wrong, man. You deserve this run. We're glad to see you back in the ring, and you're out there flying, man, pulling off that method air, as I like to say, man, with those feet behind you and all that. That's always cool to see. And it was interesting that they went to a double count out, right? Because they had already had the time limit draw, like you said, with Gabe and Big Tom. So I feel like with this, there's a lot. Not that there's less fervor and competition between Gabe and Big Tom, but I feel like, you know, being that this is both for championships, really, but yeah, we're gonna get these rematches and we'll see where it goes.
You know,
we'll see where it goes. It was another fun moment for me when I saw Jeff Cobb just hurl a man into another man. That's all I gotta say about that. So
he threw a man into another man. I am here for it. I am definitely here for it. I enjoyed this a whole lot. I did. But I just didn't like it was like I'm enjoying this, and then the finish happened. I was like, oh, that's rather unfortunate. But my smile quickly came back with our next matchup, J News, as we had Team Hiromu Takahashi, Mayu Iwatani on a New Japan Strong show. Oh, how sweet it is. And Yuka Sakazaki as well, going up against Team Sumi Sakai, Evil and Show of the House of Torture. Sakai came out to the Evil theme music, which was hilarious because she was going around the ring slapping 5 with all the fans to the fucking Evil piano music. Then you had Show coming out with her, so it looked like Evil was still retired. I believed them. I know you did. But unfortunately, that was a lie as Team Hiromu came out and Evil attacked them from behind, leading to Team Sumi gaining control of this one. Sumi pleaded with her team as Evil and Show ganged up on a pummeled Takahashi, who pulled through with a double crossbody. Iwatani and Sasaki and Yuka Sakazaki combined their efforts to put down the House of Torture. Sumi sadly looking on as Hiromu stood across from her. They stood off, had a big stare down before going at it. The LIJ member rallied the crowd to cheer for a tearful Sakai, who before falling to a low blow as Sumi just said fuck all that and low blowed Hiromu. Seeking some aerobic grappling, Hiromu was surprised by the technical trickery of Sumi. Refusing to cheat though, Sakai instead stomped her opponent into oblivion, but Sho moved her out the way and started stomping and choking Hiromu in the corner. As a follow-up, Sho slammed Sumi on top of Hiromu and interviewing Yuka and Mayu's attempts to save their partner were thwarted. We get a great spot where we get Hiromu putting a abdominal stretch on Evil, which leads to Yuka and Mayu coming to grab his hand to give him extra leverage. But then Sumi joins the pack, holds on to the hand to give even more pressure, and then then the fans join in and grab Sumi's hand. So we had the longest fucking train of an abdominal stretch that you will ever see. The last like 5 minutes of this match was so much fun. You get Mayu and Yuka running wild on Show and Evil, including Iwatani hitting a German suplex on Evil. That spot popped me so much. We get a big lariat we get Hiromu and the gang beating up on Evil some more. Hiromu laying him out with everything is Hiromu. Then Sumi was left alone with Team Hiromu. She tried fighting back against all of them, but they all triple teamed her, ending with the time bomb by Hiromu for the 1-2-3 on Sumi. Team Hiromu beats Team Sumi in an absolute blast. This was so much fun. Like, if you want a match, because you maybe 30 minutes of Ishii and Gabe is too long for you. Maybe the 20 plus minute matchup later on in the show, or we had a 15 plus minute great matchup. This was like, I think this was like less than 15. There was less than 15 minutes, 14 minutes, 42 seconds. It's going to put a big smile on your face and then just stay for the post match, because this was so touching, so emotional. The locker room empties out to the arena as Yuka, Mayu, and Hiromu all stand Sumi up. They say their goodbyes to Sumi, exchanging hugs with her. The fans are cheering on, giving big thank you Sumi chants. We get flowers being brought into the ring. She's getting a bunch of bouquet of flowers. Hiromu gives her his jacket, puts it on her. Sakai bowed and then cut a farewell speech, a heartfelt speech, thanking the fans, thanking the locker room. This was moving. This was special. This was awesome. The love that professional wrestling, and when you see peers showing that love to one another, it's one of a kind. It's unlike anything you will ever see. I don't get this emotional when I see fucking basketball players or football players shaking hands at the end of a game, but I do get that emotional when it's stuff like this. Even when it's like a hard hitting matchup and the guys shake hands at the end, I get emotional. Like, wrestling's the only one that when peers are like showing that love and respect for one another, it brings out that emotional, pulls at your heartstrings in a way. This was a great moment and a great thing to put on the show. And I think that probably from the end of the year, when you think about this show, this is one of the things you're going to think about. Sumi Sakai's retirement ceremony and the match that preceded it. Great matchup. I may be high on this match, but I loved it. I had so much fun. I give it 4 stars. What did you think about Team Sumi versus Team Hiromu?
So to start off by saying I was still thrown off by the fact that the House of Torture members were a part of Team Sumi is something that I think a lot of people would be, they'd accept. Yeah, J News ain't about this House of Torture life. Like, well, why would we, be about the same thing? And I thought to myself, man, this just seems so odd, right? When they booked the match, and then the match happens. And
we should also add the video package did a great job of explaining that. They went
Absolutely.
through all the guys that took excursions to the U.S. that Sumi basically was the den mother. Like they did a great job of explaining.
They did a great job explaining that and things of that nature. And for all intents and purposes, Evil and Show played their roles in this match to perfection. And as you stated off camera, I think we should state it on camera. In 2025, it seems like Evil is 2-0.
2 for 2, 2 for 2, 100% Evil.
So it seems
we gotta praise this and cherish this now, because we don't know if it's gonna last.
Exactly.
We don't know. Next match, the streak might be done. We gotta praise it now.
Yeah, man. I think that they played their roles, Show and Evil, to perfection. Everybody was against them, including Sumi at the end of the day. So that was great. The action was fun. For those who don't necessarily understand Japanese Joshi lore, like you had the Tokyo Joshi Pro Ace in there with the GOAT that is Mayu Iwatani. That they don't cross paths. This is not something that happens on a regular basis. So them teaming with Hiromu was a big deal. And them having so much chemistry together, as a unit, very fun, very vibrant, and things of that nature. I would want to see them team up again in the not so distant future. So there's that. And shout out, a lot of love, a lot of praise to Sumi Sakai. For most parts with social media stuff, you don't necessarily care when you get likes and when you don't get likes when you post stuff or whatever the case is. But I got to give a shout out and show much love to Sumi Sakai. She took time out of her day to like my freaking tweet about
Same.
her.
I said thank you, Sumi, tagged her, and I said this was an incredible, beautiful retirement ceremony, and she liked the tweet yesterday.
Yeah, man. So props to her. The people don't have to do that and stuff like that, especially folks in her position and stuff like that. So appreciate her for that. But it's like I was telling you off camera, man. I'll say it here as well. One of the few retirement ceremonies I've ever seen, which really dug up a lot of emotion out of me, just because there was just a big swell of emotion and care and love and appreciation for Sumi and what she's done, not only in the ring, but to your point, behind the scenes as well, being the den mother for a lot of Japanese talents that come to America when they do their excursions or just even when they're here for short tours. She's the one who always makes it her business to make sure that they're here and that they're comfortable and that they don't feel out of place and things of that nature. So shouts to Sumi Sakai for doing that for all these years. It's not a recent thing. And yeah, man, just remembering back on her career, remembering back on moments where she was the first Woman of Honor champion at the end of the day, representing for a very small roster of women who were trying to do something different in the world of professional wrestling at that time.
I think I could name like the whole Woman of Honor division at that time. It was Sumi Sakai, Kelly Klein, Taylor was it Taylor Hendricks? Taylor Hendricks and Deanna Purrazzo.
Right. And I believe
Mandy
wasn't Mandy part of that? Mandy De Leon?
Oh yes, yeah. Mandy De Leon. I haven't heard that name in years. Feels like years.
Yeah. She was a part of that roster as well. Yeah, man. Sumi's touched a lot of lives in professional wrestling, and she's one of the good ones from everything I've always understood her to be. So I'm always seeing her in photos of the judo classes down in Florida that a lot of the wrestlers take part in, the Killer Crosses of the world, Shinsuke Nakamura. I see Matt Riddle in those photos as well, or whatever the case is. So she's always in those. So I know that she plays her part in help training a lot of established talent and younger talent and stuff like that. And it was a beautiful retirement ceremony. So props to New Japan Pro Wrestling for doing this. Props to Rocky for helping facilitate this, and at the end of the day, for everybody that was involved, good job and great way to have a special moment for a real legend in the industry. She was trained by goddesses of the Joshi Pro Wrestling scene, coming from the All Japan Women's lineage, basically, the later half of it, really, and continuing that style in her 27-year career was always cool to see. So props to Sumi, continued success, much positivity to her, and man, this is a way to go out at the end of the day. I thought that the most positive thing I ever thought I saw in wrestling from a retirement standpoint was the Sting retirement, but this beats that. In a different way. It beats.
I think it's on par. I think it's on par. Fair. And she ain't sell out the Greensboro Coliseum. I'm just saying she ain't have her sons out here dressed like different versions. Like, come on, man. Like I don't think that we have talked enough how much of a Sting mark Tony Khan is, because that was one of the greatest.
No. You're right about that. I feel like Alex Powell always with the jokes.
Yeah, I was like, well, it definitely laps this one, Alex Powell.
Always with the jokes, man. But yeah, no. You're right about the Sting thing. You know, recency bias being what it is. But no, I just from just so used to watching Western wrestling and not necessarily seeing things go down in this way. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, to see retirements go down the way of Sting and Sumi Sakai, the way that they were celebrated was really, really dope to see. Yeah, the Liger one was a great one as well in recent memory. So it was cool, man. It was cool to see. So there's that. That's my point there.
And then we had for the never openweight championship, Konosuke Takeshita making his second defense, going up against Kushida. This one was a very I think that if you know these two guys' styles, you could have imagined this matchup in your head. You got the overwhelming size and the impressive arsenal of moves of Konosuke Takeshita versus the technical genius that is Kushida. And of course, Kushida knows how to work over an arm, and boy, oh boy, did he do that in this matchup here. But he had to overcome and withstood a lot of the hard-hitting stylings of Takeshita. Some of these forearms and these strikes and the knee strikes were just brutal, and just was like, oh, just one of those laugh. It looked like it was so hard hitting, it just make you laugh at how much pain he was delivering here. But Kushida was just as well, because he was working over the arm, and I thought this was one of Takeshita's best jobs of selling of his entire career. Of any of the matches that I've seen from Takeshita, he was selling this arm at every instant. It was not even if Kushida hit him with a move, another move that focused on another body part, he would always go back to the arm, checking on the arm, making sure he can bend it and stuff. You get kicks and strikes flying from Kushida. This upward momentum led him right into walking into, he does the head spring and tries to do the back elbow, but he walks right into the blue thunder bomb for a close near fall. Takeshita is still at it. He goes, you get Kushida getting a close near fall with the back to the future, but Takeshita overwhelms him. He hits a bastard driver for a 2 count. He's not able to hit the German suplex as Kushida fights through it. Kushida goes after the lower limbs, goes for an ankle lock. When Takeshita grabs the ropes, he kicks at the arm. He tries to go for the hoverboard lock, but putting so much heart into his efforts, it is Kushida eventually put down with the raging fire. 1, 2, 3. Konosuke Takeshita retains the never openweight championship. He is still a double champion, holding the AEW International Championship as well. Takeshita gets on the mic and he issues a challenge for Windy City Riot, April 11th. Konosuke Takeshita, the never openweight champion, defends against the ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. For the first time since they faced each other during the first years of Takeshita's career in DDT, all the way back in like the 2010s. Now Takeshita, fully absorbed into one of the best wrestlers in the world, goes one-on-one with Tanahashi, the ace, the president of New Japan Pro Wrestling, coming up, Windy City Riot, April, whatever the fuck, as Gabe Kidd calls it. I thought this match was excellent. This was so good. Takeshita selling in this matchup, I was just like, yo, he's killing it. I've never seen him sell this good. He was on point in this one. It was a very compelling and engaging type of matchup where you had to pay attention to stuff like that, which kind of similar to what I'm going to say about the next match as well. But great match here. I give it 4 stars. What did you think, Janus?
I thought it was, and I agree with you. I thought it was an excellent match. Shouts to my friend Francis and Dolores in the chat. It's funny because I have been down on Kushida for quite some time, and for all intents and purposes, I knew he still had it in him. You know what I'm saying? He's not out here doing the old man walk-alongs and being unhealthy and the body all worn down. You know what I'm saying? I felt he was taking a trip down the Kenta Road for a bit there. So, but then this match proved to me that one of the greatest junior heavyweights of our generation still got a lot left in the tank. You know what I'm saying? And for him to pull out all the stops that he did against Takeshita here in this match and targeting that arm, and like you said, Takeshita's selling was incredible and stuff like that. But him to still be able to hit his most high impact moves, Kushida that is, and taking those elbow shots, I was like, dude, what? You dead? Just stay on the ground. Just stay on the ground. I was like, but he kept on battling back, man. That fighting spirit is in the juniors as well, man. And just being able to, I for one never thought that this match would come. To be quite honest, I never saw the pairing in my head. So I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. And then just to see it and to experience it, I was like, yeah, man. Like, if you don't think that Konosuke Takeshita is one of the greatest wrestlers going right now, you don't know ball, as they say online, right? You don't know ball.
You don't know ball,
as we say online, man. Like, that's just it was a terrific match, man. So if anything, if you want to go back and watch a match, and you have if you have access to New Japan World and things of that nature, or if you want to run the clips back and just scour the internet for the match, you can. Konosuke Takeshita versus Kushida from Battle in the Valley. It is there. You will go ahead and appreciate it, I would say. But shouts to Kushida, man. Hopefully 2025 is a better year for him going forward. I think he's gonna be back full time in New Japan because that TNA contract didn't get re-up, man. So you know what I'm saying?
No, it did not. No, it did not. And I wouldn't be surprised if he told them he didn't want to re-sign. But
yeah, so hopefully we see Kushida back in a more prominent role in New Japan, so he can keep passing that baton along, and we'll go from there. So yeah, man, definitely a terrific match between Takeshita and Kushida here on Battle in the Valley.
Next up, semi-main event, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Zack Sabre Jr. goes one-on-one with Hechicero in a special singles match. No title up for grabs. This is about personal animosity. They had a 2-1 record in favor of ZSJ, but they had been 1-1 in the past couple of months, with Hechicero defeating Zack in a 2-out-of-3 falls matchup in Mexico, while Zack picked up the win in his home country of London, England, his hometown of London, England, at Rev Pro's anniversary show in August. Now Zack, Hechicero 3 here. We get the initial lockup between the two men early on here. You could tell, you knew this was going to be a technical wrestling clinic, and that's exactly what they delivered here. You get Hechicero charge with a firm grasp on Sabre's ankle. He would continuously go to the legs for different submissions throughout the matchup. However, Zack comforted his way around his opponent, wrenching his opponent's left side with a cross arm breaker. Hechicero's legs held Zack in a woeful position, but the champion was keen to return the favor. We get blood rushing to the head of Sabre as Hechicero ties him up in an upside down position, leading to the champion needing to get a breather on the outside of the ring. They engaged into a double leg lock at another point, both men slapping at each other across the face. A nice little callback to Zack's matchup with Bryan Danielson last year. Sabre inflicted further damage on Hechicero's arms by trapping the challenger's arms in his legs on the ropes. We get an Inoki stretch, succeeds this. We get the further holds applied by Sabre Jr., wrinkled out and delivered a thudding penalty kick to Hechicero. A knee was Hechicero's rebuttal right in the corner. I love that step-up knee he does. In a tense moment, Sabre desperately tried to collect Hechicero's limbs and crank back on it. The luchador was able to reach the bottom rope in time to break the hold. Attempting an inverted hold, Sabre escaped, leading to trading a Cobra twist back and forth. We get a drop kick spot by both men. The pair maintain reversal pins going back and forth. Just absolutely spellbinding kind of action and sequences, and the counter work and the submissions and the mat work. This was just absolutely brilliant from from the opening bell on, but at the 23-minute mark, Sabre Jr. finally bridges into a jackknife pin. 1, 2, 3. Zack Sabre Jr. is able to pick up the victory here and get a 3-1 advantage, career advantage against Hechicero, but having a 2-1 lead in their current 3-match set. These are two of the best technical wrestlers in the world, and they went out there and just put on a absolutely superb encounter. This had my good friend Drew Nichols on Kate's watch along of Battle in the Valley with like his mouth open and like he had just seen Jesus for the first time. Like this is, if you love technical wrestling, this is the match for you. You will be like all just absolutely enamored with this matchup and the different reversals, the different submission moves that Hechicero does, no one else in the business can do. And we already know that about Zack, but seeing two guys that are like this is why this kind of rivalry is based on technical wrestling, and they can keep going. You got Hechicero in the post-match saying that he wanted another matchup. There's only one last place for them to do battle, and it's in Japan. Maybe we get that for Jade News's favorite event of the year, Fantastica Mania. Maybe they could do that for the IWGP title, but this man on a show of great matches, this man stole the show because this was unlike anything else on the show. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I give it 4.5 stars. J News, what did you think about Hechicero Zack 3?
You know, it's always interesting to know what wrestlers can do the second or third go around when they have their matches, right? Like how much more creative can they get in a match, or what kind of a different stipulation, right? These guys don't even need stips. It's just whatever that comes to mind, and their creative juices flow that make these matches happen and flow the way that they do. And I feel like learning about Hechicero, the alchemist of professional wrestling at the end of the day, has been a treat the last couple of years. I've watched Zack Sabre Jr.'s career longer than I've watched Hechicero's career because I've been very in and out with Lucha Libre throughout my entire life. But just knowing about his ability and how he twists people and how he uses the Jave style in a very unique way, because it's not just the Jave style, it's high impact moves as well and whatnot, things melded in there, and also the lucha stylings, like he'll do dives and things of that nature, and he'll hit you hard and all that stuff. So it's a very unique hybrid style that Hechicero brings to the ring. And yo, for God's sakes, man, can we have that man do his entrance at every freaking major show with the flames of fire and the freaking the tin pots? You know what I'm saying? Like the dude's entrance is fire legitimately, you know what I'm saying? Literally fire at the end of the day. Fire. It's fire. So let him bring that shit to the ring, man. God damn, it adds to the mystique. It adds to the aura at the end of the day, right? And on American television, especially American television wrestling, that's important. So it's like, yo, this is you gotta let them bring it out. But like the match was terrific. ZSJ doing what ZSJ does best, man. He doesn't have a lot of people in the business who can match him on that level, you know. So when it does come to the likes of a Bryan Danielson, to the likes of an Hechicero and things of that nature, you look forward to it because these are guys that can match him in that way. And then when you get the surprising matches as to when he does get matched up, it's like, oh, I didn't know that guy could do that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but Zack Sabre Jr., I think so far so good with his IWGP heavyweight championship run. Obviously, this is a non-title match, but a definite positive in the right direction for 2025 for Zack Sabre Jr. in that estimation.
He washed away his first bad match.
Yeah, man. You know, I mean, there's not much.
Hey, Dave Meltzer rated it 4.5 stars, so it wasn't that bad.
I was surprised at that, you know, but hey. You know, we all have our own opinions about whatever the hell goes on TV at the end of the day. So hopefully somewhere down the road ZSJ and Shooter run it back and they amaze us. You know what I'm saying? I'm with Alex Powell. That video package that Nigel narrated for ZSJ was pretty cool. So there's that about it. And ZSJ's got Goto next, man, at New Beginning in Osaka. So we'll see what Goto-san still has left in the tank, which I think is plenty. And we should see a very hard-hitting, emotional, and innovative match, to say the least. And yeah, man.
I'm looking forward to New Beginning a lot. New Beginning is it looks like it's gonna like this. I will spoiler alert before we get into like closing out and overall thoughts on the show. This show lived up. It wasn't as great. It didn't reach the heights of last year's Battle in the Valley. I think last year's Battle in the Valley is the greatest NJPW Strong USA show they've ever had, but it was just as great as Battle in the Valley 2024. This one was. Looking at the lineup for New Beginning in Osaka was one of the best New Japan shows of last year. I think that this year might live up to that with the lineup they got.
Yeah, they're stacking it up pretty well for Osaka at New Beginning. I don't think they're really aiming at Sapporo this year too much for the New Beginning shows. So Osaka's going to be the mainline show, and it's pretty stacked for what they have booked so far. So definitely looking forward to that as well.
But finally, we had the main event on this show here, which was for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. El Phantasmo defends against Taiji Ishimori. These two men have a long rivalry. Their last match was in the finals of the Best of Super Juniors 27 tournament back last June. This one here, Desperado dominated early, evading a cravat attempt by Ishimori, but was no match for his knees, colliding the champion into the barricades. We get Ishimori, challenge the crowd with cruel taunts. He was getting as much heat as he can from these fans in attendance here. He returned and sling Desperado into the turnbuckle. Throughout the matchup, Ishimori targeted Desperado's arm with no remorse. The champion fought back with a resounding brainbuster, but found himself horizontal once more after a slam. Boasting his momentum, yet Ishimori missed a collision at the turnbuckle and ate a dragon screw leg whip, which started Desperado's march to attacking the legs of Ishimori to try to finish him off with numero dos. Torturing the champion on the rope, Ishimori punctuated his offense by hitting a nice little sliding German suplex. He missed a 450. Ishimori began ensnared with a hold. The Bullet Club's resident Bone Soldier nearly won the matchup with a bridging pin, but Desperado was able to kick out. Trading signature moves, you get Desperado pulling out a Pinche Loco, but Ishimori was able to kick out eventually after a couple of strikes exchange. Following a weak slap at Ishimori, Desperado lays him out, hits a J Driller, holds on, keeps the arms underhook, and follows up with a second Pinche Loco. 1, 2, 3. El Desperado retains the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship in what I thought was a very good matchup. Love it that it was very much not your prototypical Junior Heavyweight Championship matchup. Not a lot of agility on display, not a lot of speed unless it's Ishimori who knows the points in the matchup that he has to, turn on the boosters a bit. So he did do that in this matchup here. It felt like the matchup on paper, I thought it was worthy of being the main event of this show, especially being for the Junior Heavyweight Championship. But I can understand if someone would think that probably Zack should have closed this show, especially with the quality of the matchup with Hechicero. I can understand that as well. Still a very good matchup. I give it 3 3/4 stars. What did you think about Desperado versus Ishimori?
I thought it was solid, man. Not gonna lie, I was not expecting this to be the main event of the night. So when it came up, and I was like, "Oh shit, this is gonna be the main event." The juniors are main eventing a show, and it's like, "This is the show. You have the juniors main event." I was like, "Okay."
I was like, Takeshita and Takeshita could have main evented this. Zack and Hechicero could have main evented this. Even with the time limit draw, Ishii and Gabe Kidd could have main evented this.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, man, you guys really gave these dudes no burn. But
Hell, with the post match, Team Aromo versus Team Sumi could have main evented this show.
Absolutely.
There's four matches on the show that could have main evented over this one.
Absolutely, man. And I feel like, and this is not taking anything away from Desperado and Ishimori. At the end of the day, two great professional wrestlers and things of that nature. It's just that there was no build to this. They had 2 weeks to put this together, and they put it together, and they got a decent match out of it. I, for one, outside of talking about the match, I think I found myself in a place now in life where I am starting to appreciate Taiji Ishimori more as the years go on. I wasn't beforehand, and mind you, I started watching his work in the mid 2000s, and he was on another level at that time, man. It was definitely a different time in pro wrestling in Japan in the mid 2000s, to say the least. Shouts to Magneto. But yeah, man, it was a dope match to see. I did enjoy the match. So the finish, when Despy went for the Jade Driller into the Pink Che Loco, I said to myself, since when does he do the Driller? And I was like,
he's done that. He's done that before. That's
and in my head, I was like, when I said that, I said to when I was watching, I was like, I was watching it, and I said it to myself out loud, and I was like, oh no, I've seen him do this before. But then it's like the combination of the two, and I was like, oh, that's devastating as hell. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you can't kick out of that. So it took two of Desperado's best shots to put down Ishimori. You know what I'm saying? So that still puts Ishimori in a very strong light in the junior heavyweight division in that regard, as well. The aforementioned Bone Soldier of the Bullet Club. He's probably, I think, outside of Yujiro, the longest tenured member of the Bullet Club, and Fale. Fale's
still there. Trying to think. Yeah, you might be right. You might be right. Outside of the Fale's and stuff like that, yeah, you might be the Fale Yujiro. Yeah, he might Chase. I was like, there's someone else. Yeah, Chase.
But yeah, man.
Damn, what? That's all that's left from the original,
bro. That's all that's left. It was interesting. I saw something online a couple of days ago where they were mentioning the former leaders of the Bullet Club and stuff like that, and how they had them all pictured and where they are now and da-da-da. And I'm there like, forget about the leaders. We know where the leaders are. And I was like, where's the rest of the damn crew? And I was like, where the rest of these fools at? And I was like, what are they doing right now? And it's like to see, Ishimori still putting in high caliber work. Ishimori's he's not a young man, man. You know what I'm saying? So he ain't a young man. He's still out there doing great work and stuff like that, and keeping the pace, I think, which is more important than anything else, because a lot of, and mind you, yeah, he has a slower style now in comparison to how he started his wrestling career. But to the point you were making when you were breaking down the match, he knows when to turn it on during a match. So it's like he can really pick up the pace when he needs to. And that just shows you, the years of experience and the wisdom that he has in that ring, and when it calls for it. And like I was saying before, it's just more or less just be more present of mind and admiring and appreciating what he's done with his career even more up until this point. So there were certain parts of the match where I was like, yo, Ishimori should be winning right here. You know what I'm saying? Even though I love Despy's, but it was like, it was like, all right, man, cool. So it was still a solid match. And where does Despy go from here? I don't necessarily know. He was the one who closed out the show, and his English is not so great, but he did his best on the mic there. New Japan Ichiban at the end of the day. So at the end, New Japan is number one, and
New Japan Ichiban.
And so he did his part there. I don't know where Despy goes from here necessarily. Like who does he face off with in Osaka? If he has a match slated for Osaka. So there's that.
I think he does right now, but maybe they set something up on the road too.
Sure. I just don't know who necessarily, right? I think I'd throw anybody in there at this point just because it is the junior division, but
yeah.
Have we ever? I mean, Jesus, we probably have seen it. I'm just not remembering right now. When was the last time Despy went up against Kushida?
He's always doing it. This man just lost a title match.
So
he don't deserve no title match.
So it's about
Kushida. Deserve no goddamn title match.
It's always about Kushida, man. But I don't know. I mean, Master Wato's out there, obviously.
Clark Connors.
Good point. Clark Connors is out there. They're not going to give Akira a freaking shot this early on. At the end of the day,
I don't think. I think they should do Clark Connors because Drilla has his first heavyweight matchup. Why not just put him in the title match right off the top? He doesn't have to win, but it's like his introduction as a singles competitor in the junior.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. I'm good with that. I mean, we still have Ichiban Sweet Boy out here, man. You know what I'm saying? He's
he's got the tag titles. They got Roppongi Revice to worry about.
They could double strap him up. You know what I'm saying?
Now we wilding. Why we wilding for? Why we wilding for respect for?
The ladies love them some Kosei Fujita, man. So
can't give y'all niggas nothing. Damn. Greedy. But now let us know in the chat what you thought about NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025. Give us your match of the night, your MVP, your LVP out of 10. What did you give the show? Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle as well. And final call for super chat donations. Want to thank I Make Beats once again for the other super chat that we got earlier in the show as well. But for me, NJ News, for NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025 in 3, 2, 1. Thumbs up across the board from both of us. J News out of 10. What did you give the show?
I'm biased, man. I feel like the Sumi Sakai retirement ceremony kind of made it for me, so I gave it a 9. So
this man gave Battle in the Valley a higher score than Wrestle Dynasty.
Did I? 8.5. Yeah.
Yes, you gave Wrestle Dynasty an 8.5, even though I tried to talk you into giving it a 9 because that's what it deserved was a 9. You want to give that an 8.5 and this a 9?
Yeah. Like I said, I'm biased because of the retirement ceremony. Yeah. It made all the sense in the world, man. Made all the sense in the world. Yeah. and mind you, this is the first time I've never said anything about production value on a New Japan Strong show. So for those two things, them finally cleaning up production, the Sumi Sakai retirement ceremony, I think did the whole show for the life of me in that particular regard. And
we're gonna need J News to be like those matches in the Wrestling Observer when Dave tries to re-rate them. Like he has to rewatch it and re-rate them. We're gonna need J News to rewatch Wrestle Dynasty and re-rate it.
Yep. Absolutely.
This man is outrageous. Outrageous. But out of 10, I'm going to give it an 8.5 out of 10. This was a really enjoyable show. No bad matches on the show, which is always going to get you above an 8 when it's a main show or major show that has no bad matches. But there was also some great matches, the great moment for Sumi Sakai. So checked a lot of my boxes on what I want out of these type of shows. So I'm going to give it an 8.5 for this one. But what was your match of the night, J News?
Match of the night. Like I said, I'm biased, man. It's a Sumi match for me, man. At the end of the day, it was just a lot of fun. At the end of the day, I'm just biased with it. But if I'm being completely serious and transparent, I would go with Gabe versus Big Tom. That would be my match of the night. No shade to anybody else on the card. That match for me, I wasn't expecting it to go the way that it went, and yeah, man. Gabe, like it was said in the chat earlier, Gabe can do no wrong right now, and Big Tom's a legend. So that is the match of the night for me.
I'm gonna go match of the night then with Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero. I gave Hechicero and Zack and Gabe and Ishii 4.5 stars, but I'm a technical wrestling slut, so I enjoyed the Techers slightly better than the hard-hitting banger that we got in the opener. So that is why I'm going to go with Hechicero and Zack for match of the night. MVP for the show, I will give that to Sumi Sakai.
Yeah.
J-Nips.
Yeah. I agree.
We're in agreement there. And then LVP for the show. That's interesting. LVP
that is an interesting
for
one.
the show. LVP for the show, who I'm just gonna give it to the ending of ELP versus Jeff Cobb. I think that was the only kind of booking mistake of the night, and I'm not sure who's the head booker. I don't want to bid it on Gato or Rocky, so I'm just gonna give it to the finish. But I mean, if I had to give it to a person, then I'm gonna share it between Gato and Rocky for booking that finish on the same night you book a 30-minute time limit draw.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Kayfabe. Matt Vandegrift is the LVP. So that's all I have to say. Matt Vandegrift is the LVP of the night. I turn it around all the time. I turn it around all the time.
Can't say you're wrong. But yes, we've made it to the end of our NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025 review. Look at that. We made this in good time instead of like 3.5 hours like we did last week with Wrestle Dynasty and Wrestle Kingdom.
We covered two shows.
Let everybody know where they can follow.
Y'all can follow me.
We covered 8 hours of professional wrestling.
We did.
So that is fair.
We did. Y'all can catch me on the Twitter space at John LYFNMG. I post up on there, you know what I'm saying? I'm always trying to let you guys know as to what I'm doing during the week. Obviously, I'm here on True Heel Heat on a weekly to bi-weekly basis, depending as to when New Japan has shows. The good brother SP3 always invites me on as to whenever I'm needed. I'm one of those guys. I'm one of those clutch guys at the end of the day when I'm healthy. So it makes all the difference there. You guys can always catch me on Sunday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Hit the Ropes podcast with the lovely Dolores. I'm on there. You can catch me either on my YouTube channel or Dolores's YouTube channel. My link tree link should be on my Twitter bio, if not my Instagram bio. So please look into that for that as well. My audio only movie review podcast will return this week after all these months of contemplation and recalibration. I will be returning to doing that. So if you guys want to listen to movie reviews audio only and not have to look at my beat up face, then hey, that is your poison of choice there. So there's all that. So you can check me out there, folks. But appreciate everybody watching as usual. And also can't forget to shout out the third member of our Never Openweight 6-man tag team champions, the lovely Sonal. She's still out in Korea, I believe, on the second half of her vacation. So hopefully she's enjoying. I know she enjoyed the hell out of Japan. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure to take the time out and shout her out.
Yes, shout outs to Sonal. She was very missed. Hopefully when we're back at it again, which will probably be the end of this month, early next month for the new beginning in Osaka, we will have Sonal back with us. We'll get her thoughts and her memories from her trip to Japan and Korea, and we'll talk some New Japan goodness there. You can follow me on the Twitter machine at TrueHillSP3. You can follow the gang, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at True Hill Heat. Patreon.com/True Hill Heat. $3 a month gets you exclusive content. The best place to support us when we are not live here. And of course, we will be live here plenty of times this week. We got tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time. Rated Raw review, reviewing tonight's second episode of Monday Night Raw on Netflix. We'll be talking all about it, myself and Romeo. Wednesday, 1:05 p.m. Eastern Time, we got our TNA Genesis preview. It'll be myself and Fightful's Joel Pearl breaking down this Sunday show from TNA. Thursday, of course, is AE Ramble, reviewing AEW Dynamite Maximum Carnage, which includes the first ever Women's Casino Gauntlet and Jon Moxley versus Powerhouse Hobbs for the AEW World Title. Friday, I believe we'll either have a THH cut or we'll probably try to do a preview for GCW's The People versus GCW coming up at the Hammerstein Ballroom on Sunday as well. And then, of course, Saturday, our flagship podcast. So stay tuned for all of that. Join us here. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Hit the bell to stay notified for all the great content. We'll see if we have any other comments here. We got I Make Beats who says, shout out Sanal in Korea. I just watched Squid Game 2. There you go. There you have it.
You go. Absolutely.
4J News. It is me, your True Hill Phenom SP3. This has been our NJPW Battle in the Valley 2025 review. We are signing off until next time.